Sword and the Seven Suns by Gardner F. Fox. Originally published in Planet Stories, Spring, 1947. Read by Jon Gill. Part 1. Their world was dark. Their machine god was dead. Savage hordes threatened to overrun them, smash them. What then was Flame doing out in the desert, alone with the wreck of a spaceship and a strangely wrought sword? The spaceship fled like a silver bullet across black nothingness. Rows of round windows stared outward from its curved sides. Beyond the windows whirled clouds of interstellar dust. An occasional lump of meteoric rock rebounded from the metal hull. To port shone the triple stars of a constellation, utterly foreign to those in the ship. To starboard gleamed the strangely altered pattern of the constellation Hercules. Straight ahead lay the great star Deneb, and circling around it, giant orbs shimmering in its light were the planets it held in its awful grip. Closer and closer swept the ship, trailing billows of space dust. Over one of the planets that closely resembled the Voyager's home planet in size and density, the vessel thundered. It rocketed downward, sweeping sidewise into the gravitational pull of the planet. It dropped into the swirling clouds, swept into the sunlit sky, roaring gustily. Inside the ship, a voice cried hysterically, "Calling Captain! Calling Captain!" Captain responding, "Over to forward jet ports." "The forward jets are shot, sir. Unused for too long. Ever since we left Earth, they remain untested. Can't fix them now. No time. Inside gravity of the planet. Over." The man in the captain's uniform bowed his head, eyes tightly shut. There was bitterness in his heart, but no despair. 600 light years from Earth, farther out among the stars than any man had ever trespassed. And now this. A hand squeezed his shoulder. He glanced up and found the blue eyes of his wife smiling at him. Heard her voice whisper, "At least we'll go together, darling." He patted her hand. Through the compressed quartz panels, they stared at the world unfolding beneath them. Rolling plains covered with long grasses that swayed gracefully before the wind bordered high. Black mountains that cupped mounds of snow at their peaks. In the distance was the blue of a sea. "A lovely world," he whispered. "You were right, John. Your calculations prove the habitability of Deneb's planets. You would have been famous." He chuckled. "This is one consolation, darling. But I'd hoped for so much more than that. A land to bring the restless spirits, where they could dwell apart from the regimented ones. To form a new country, to call their own." He broke off. The ship was quivering, shuddering in the mad pace of its unchecked flight. Thunder rolled like monumental cannon fire behind it as the air was displaced and rolled together. The captain worked on the controls feverishly. His hands sought by their swiftness, by their strength, to fire those frontal jets, to stop the deadly dash through the planetal atmosphere. He bit his lips and shook his head, whispering, "No use. It's no use." There was desert under the silvered belly of the ship. Heat waves glimmered up from the hot sands, distorting everything. Far in the distance lay a round yellow thing. The spaceship headed toward it, as though at the bullseye of a target. "We're going to hit it," said the man. "What is it, John?" Yellow and glittering, it lay like a giant's plaything, half buried in the sand. It was a prism with clean, straight facets fitted together that seemed to stretch out at every angle to gather the heat from the desert. Like a yellow diamond, it coruscated in the sunlight. "I don't know," the man said softly. "It could be something that dropped from the skies to bury itself in this spot, or it could be the work of intelligent creatures." Their trajectory of flight shortened. The nose of the ship fell lower, aimed at the prism. The noise of its passage startled two white birds that ran on the sand. The birds ran faster, blurring along on the amber desert. From behind the amber prism, a two-legged thing came running. In his hand there was a flash and glitter. "It's a man!" the woman shrieked, a red-nailed hand to her lips. And he has a sword in his hand. Poor devil, sighed the captain. We're heading right at him. He can't get away. The ship came down with unbelievable rapidity. The man on the sand had taken only a few steps from the prison when a black shadow overhauled him. He had no time even to turn his head. There was an explosion that ripped metal apart, that tore gaping holes in the smooth facets of the golden prism, that sent geysers of desert sand upward in dry showers. When the sands came down, there was only scattered wreckage. Like a twisted, broken toy, the spaceship lay on the sand, partially obscuring the prism. Gaunt girders struck up through the opened hull. Smoke swirling from the ship's inside mixed with the falling sand. Somewhere in the wreckage, a voice wailed in agony and despair. End of part 1. Thank you for listening.